Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Invest Africa. I'm Bronwyn Nielsen. Now, Angola is striving to tackle the physical, social and political legacy of a 27-year civil war that ravaged the country even after its independence in 1975. This week we unpack the opportunities and the challenges that exist in one of Africa's major oil producers.
Bordering the South Atlantic Ocean between Namibia and the DRC, the southern African country covers a total surface area of just over 1.2 million square kilometers and is home to roughly 18 million people. Conflict between the Popular Movement for the Liberation of Angola, known as the MPLA, led by José Eduardo dos Santos, and the National Union for the Total Independence of Angola, known as UNITA, which was under the leadership of Jonas Savimbi, plagued the country. By the end of the war in 2002, 1.5 million lives were lost, 4 million people displaced in this quarter of a century fighting. Angola is now faced with a daunting task of rebuilding its infrastructure, from roads, ports and railways to education and health systems. A combination of oil and war also explains why sectors such as coffee, once a big employer, have also been neglected. With oil reserves estimated at 13 billion barrels and production by 2011 more than 1.8 million barrels per day, Angola is now sub-Saharan Africa's biggest oil producer after Nigeria, which it exports to its main trading partners, China, USA and India. Other sources of revenue come from the exporting of diamonds, coffee and fish. Although agriculture provides the main livelihood for the majority of the population, half of the country's food is still imported. Other import commodities include machinery, medicine and vehicle parts from import partners Portugal, China and the USA. Angola's economy has been making inroads. In 2011, GDP growth increased slightly to 3.5% in 2011 from 3.4% in 2010. This was driven by rising oil prices and a strong non-oil sector that grew by almost 8%. Growth is projected to expand to 8.2% in 2012 and post at 7.1% in 2013. The Angolan democracy turned another page when the nation went to the polls on the 31st of August this year, and after winning 72% of the nation's votes in the recent elections, José Eduardo dos Santos' MPLA will need to enact extensive employment, social and development programs.
Joining me in studio to take a closer look at Angola as a business and investment destination, Jose Silva, Managing Partner, KPMG Angola, and Roger Ballard-Tremere, Honorary Chief Executive, South Africa, Angola Chamber of Commerce. Gentlemen, thanks very much for joining me. Let's start with the business landscape and a little colour, perhaps, Jose, being based there, to what one can expect when doing business in Angola.
What certainly one could expect is a significant challenge in doing business in Angola. The opportunities are tremendous, but the challenges are also significant. So I think one can expect is, well, an hard job to catch those opportunities, but there are significant opportunities.
Well, let's focus a little on the challenges. Roger, what is the biggest challenge that we're going to confront in Angola?
Probably the biggest challenge for people from English-speaking territories will be the language. If you don't speak Portuguese, you're asking for trouble, unless you make a plan one way or another. Tomorrow, President dos Santos takes the presidency officially for the first time. And the outcome of the election, which has confirmed multi-party democracy, has improved the business environment for those that want to go into Angola.
Let's talk about the challenge with Portuguese being the official language. Do we have English companies setting up, and when I mean English-speaking companies setting up shop in Angola through joint ventures, using translators, or is it a no-go area if you do not speak Portuguese?
Well, you have obviously several English-speaking companies in the country, and there is a large number of English-speaking professionals in Angola. The question is well, for the extent that the foreign investors are coming into the market, there is not enough. So clearly, I agree that the language is a significant barrier, as it is all the lack of human resources capabilities, technical capabilities, not only language but professional capabilities, because there is an education issue around as well. So I would say that, for example, the oil industry already employs a significant amount of people that speaks English, and other industries as well. But to the extent that investment is coming from the outside, it's really an issue for the country, and the language barrier can be an issue.
Other than language, let's focus on a couple of the other challenges before we move into the opportunities. Challenges, Roger?
Well, traditionally, people have referred to the bureaucracy, which certainly confronts one with a lot of questions. And our comment to South African companies, for example, that wish to engage in Angola and are worried about the bureaucracy, is that if they are engaging with Europe, the bureaucracy is exactly the same. So it's a matter of getting down to understanding what you have to be compliant about.
It sounds onerous when you talk about bureaucracy. Can we say there's just too much red tape in Angola? How do you see your way through, or see yourself clear when it comes to the red tape?
Well, it's a complex country, and I would say that having everything happening at the same time, and with a significant velocity, everything changing, it's quite difficult for the country, for the institutions, for the companies, for the persons to get this pace and achieve what is required. So I would say that it's a challenge, but the real challenge is to get and achieve this growth at the same time in all areas that are there, and exploring these opportunities. It's from time to time it's difficult.
Oil could be seen as the lifeblood of the economy, and obviously gold and diamonds also form a significant portion of what is driving the Angolan economy. Is this where the opportunities lie?
Indeed, that's the diamonds and the oil, now gas as well. That's where the opportunities have traditionally been, and they continue to be. For countries that are not in the petroleum game, there is still space for those companies in the services industry. So the petroleum sector needs IT, it needs all these things, and that can come from places on the continent as well as places abroad. If I can just refer to the abilities of the Angolans. In the retail sector, there are foreign companies that have invested into Angola, and they have their distribution centers run by Angolans and all their outlets run by Angolans. Angolans can do it. Give them a chance.
So it's about joint ventures. That's what you're saying. Joint ventures, are they the way in which to do business in Angola?
It's one of the ways, and probably it's one of the better ways for a foreign investor to come into the country, because obviously there are many cultural issues and how to do business in Angola, which obviously can benefit from having that partnership and that joint venture. Obviously, there is also some lack of entrepreneurship in Angola, so it's really important to find the right partner there to leverage your business when you are coming into the country.
We're very cognizant of the infrastructure troubles that the African continent as a whole faces. What does this landscape look like in Angola, specifically when it comes to infrastructure? Are you ahead of the game, or are you pretty much in the same camp as the rest of Africa?
Well, I would say that we are pretty much on the same page as the rest of Africa. As the introduction was in this program, there was 27 years of civil war, preceded by the colonial war. So the country was almost fully destroyed. So
it almost came to a standstill.
Yes, and much has been done in the last decade, but one can say that much more is to be done in the next decade. So there are massive programs in terms of infrastructures, energy being the key strategic area to invest, but also ports, roads, airports, facilities, many infrastructures, also on the education, housing, all the infrastructures needs to be reconstructed and be built to support the growth of Angola in the next decade.
Now, we know the Chinese and the Indians have been helping out when it comes to infrastructure challenges in terms of investment. Are we seeing that trend in Angola as well, or is language too much of a barrier?
We mustn't forget that China has Macau, which is Portuguese speaking. And if you visit the camps at projects, you often find that there is one or more Chinese that come from Macau or from the area around Canton. They speak Portuguese with a Cantonese accent.
So actually the landscape's perfect then?
It's perfect for them. You really wouldn't recognize Angola if you'd been there in 2002 with the destroyed infrastructure and you visit there today. Today you can get your inputs into your agricultural project in the remotest parts of Angola, and you can get your outputs out from the remotest parts of Angola. You can travel by bus anywhere, you can travel by taxi anywhere. Yes.
So you're saying progress has been made?
Tremendous progress.
When Roger highlighted the fact that services are in need, and specifically around the petroleum sector, is that where key opportunities lie, in your opinion, Louis?
I would say that opportunities lie in every sectors, in every industries. Obviously, the oil and gas and the associated services industry are quite important and have led in the past clearly the foreign direct investment from abroad. But looking into the future, I would say that sectors like the agriculture, sectors like the infrastructures, all the reconstruction that needs to be made in the country will lead to significant opportunities. There is also a key strategic direction that the government is taking to try to rebuild the industry in the country. So clearly there will be significant incentives to make these things and produce the goods in Angola, replacing the imports. So that will lead also to significant opportunities on the top of telecoms, on the top of all the traditional industries. There will be the industry and the infrastructures that will lead for sure the foreign direct investment.
We're going for a quick commercial break. More on Invest Africa when we return. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Invest Africa. Now, the Angolan economy has historically been focused on oil, but according to the Economist Intelligence Unit, the country started to diversify its economy by increasing its revenues from the non-oil sector and therefore increasing its pool as an attractive investment destination. Let's take a look.
Bringing companies that currently pay no taxes into the tax-paying network is one of the aims for promoting non-oil sectors and encouraging the activities of small and medium-sized companies. According to the Economist Intelligence Unit, around 1,000 new businesses were registered in the first 3 months of the year, creating nearly 7,000 jobs. However, the 2012 World Bank report on doing business ranked Angola 167th out of 180 83 economies on the ease of starting a business. This report highlighted just a few of the challenges faced in the country's business environment.
Very often what we say to corporates is partner up with someone on the ground, specifically because Angola is a Portuguese-speaking company and there might be difficulties in transacting most basically, and just the language barrier getting around it. So therefore we find that the operating environment is very specific to certain businesses, whereas well-established mining businesses, for example, who have been in Angola for quite a number of years, find it quite easy to operate. Bureaucracy, corruption, even some might say the administrative burden for other businesses looking to transact from Namibia or even from South Africa are finding it a slight bit more difficult.
Despite the effects of the global financial crisis, Angola's financial sector has continued to expand, with the banking sector dominating the financial system. And until now, foreign oil companies were allowed to hold revenue from Angolan operations in overseas banks, transferring foreign currency to the central bank to pay taxes and making only limited payments via Angolan banks. Angola's new foreign exchange policy for its oil sector will pump billions into its banking system, but will also pose questions around its transparency and technical readiness. Angola is a forward-looking nation with an economy that is growing at a constant rate due to its vast supply of natural resources. Understanding Angola's extremely diverse social and business culture can be challenging, and doing business in Angola successfully requires a sound understanding of this complex country. Dumisho Machanyele, Johannesburg.
Still with me in studio, Jose Silva, Managing Partner, KPMG Angola, and Roger Ballard-Tremere, the Honorary Chief Executive, South Africa Angola Chamber of Commerce. Now, we touched there in the introduction on corruption and the level of corruption. Does this differ, Jose, significantly from what we're faced with again in the rest of Africa?
I wouldn't say so. Obviously, the rankings are what they are, and they mean something, and they mean that, well, it's a complex country where bureaucracy and corruption exist, for sure. And, well, that means that one trying to invest in Angola must be more sure of the investment that is about to do, to find the right partner, and to analyze in more detail the proposed investment. Taking care, managing the complexity is key to invest in any country in the world, and in Angola for sure it's also key.
Roger, when it comes to mining, Tamishu there saying that obviously given the fact that mining has been such an integral part of the Angolan economy, it's those companies that are established and operate with ease in territory.
Diamond mining might have been established for a long time, but we're talking now about mining beyond the diamonds. A new mining code was promulgated in September last year, and it's only now that the major mining houses are beginning to establish themselves and proceed along the road to mining things like iron ore, nickel, and aluminium, bauxite,
even gold,
and so on. Absolutely. So there's lots of action in that sector, and we're not talking about front-end loader stuff. This is serious mining. So this is creating huge opportunities.
You're talking about deep-level mining here?
Well, not necessarily deep level. It could be open cast, but mining of the sorts of minerals that we know in other parts of Africa.
Tax reform on the agenda. This is an ongoing discussion point. Your thoughts in terms of where we are right now, Jose?
Yes. Well, basically, there is a major transformation that the Angolan government is introducing in the country, obviously to deal with the issues of the corruption and the bureaucracy and everything. So major reforms are taking place. There is a new foreign investment law since May 2011. There is the tax reform that all major taxes are going into significant reforms. We had consumption tax, stamp duty, corporate income tax will be the next one, and personal income tax. So major reforms on all the areas of the economy. Also the central bank issuing new regulation to the financial sector, basically to try to raise the legal background, the regulatory background of the country.
And raise the standard even in the
raise the
financial
standard
environment.
for the what I would call international standards. Everything that is being updated is being brought to international standards to facilitate the investments and to also raise the profile of Angola clearly.
The role of the South Africa-Angola Chamber of Commerce. Perhaps you can give us a little more colour on that front.
South Africa has the small bilateral chambers that focus on one country only. So we have them have a chamber with Nigeria and Angola and a couple of others. Because Angola is a challenging market, indeed an ultra-challenging market, business decided that it was necessary to have an entity that focused solely on that market. And that's what the South Africa-Angola Chamber does. We assist South Africans to go that way, and we assist Angolans to come this way. And in these last few weeks, we've had literally hundreds of Angolans approaching us and saying, well, where can we get this, where can we get that from South African suppliers?
So you've certainly seen a trend on the up when it comes to exchange of goods and services, people?
Absolutely.
Jose, coming back to what you're seeing in country, where do you see us 5 years from now when it comes to Angola and specifically Angolan-South African relations?
Well, I think it will improve significantly. Until now, it's much more the relations are with China, with Portugal for the language issues. But I do think that there is a trend for Angola and South Africa to come together in terms of business relations. And the current trend that we also see in KPMG is a massive number of South African companies studying the market, contacting KPMG and other consultancy firms to have a deep understanding of the business practices in the market and trying to be there to achieve and to obtain part of that potential of growth of the economy.
If we talk about public-private partnerships and the role that they're going to have in the Angolan economy going forward, is this a key driver when it comes to the ease of doing business?
The Angolan government has a policy of encouraging public-private partnerships. Indeed, a law was recently passed providing a framework for this. For example, the 3 railways are now fully operational, and the private sector has been invited to participate in one way or another with making these railways contribute more productivity to the country.
What other African countries is Angola engaging in? You mentioned obviously the likes of Portugal and obviously from a language perspective, but when it comes to the continent, beyond South Africa, as we've spoken about the South Africa-Angola Chamber of Commerce, what other African countries is Angola engaging?
Oh, we see it coming from everywhere. We see it from Egypt to East Africa, Kenya. We see it from Nigeria. We see it clearly from South Africa. So I think from all the regions in Africa, and the internal transactions within African countries are also growing significantly, and Angola is a key destination for all these countries. So we see it coming from the north, the east, and the south, coming from all places. Yeah.
You've spoken about the services sector, agriculture. What about health? What are we seeing? Are we seeing the pharmaceutical companies moving in a large way? You've got a population of around 17 million in Angola and around 7 million, I believe, in Luanda itself.
Yes, it's close to 7 million, 6 something, yeah. Well, the pharmaceutical, I think it's not yet there. The challenge in the healthcare industry is tremendous, but I would say that it's still to come significantly into the market, that trend of healthcare players coming into the market. It's also significant infrastructures to be still built in the country in terms of hospitals
So beyond talking about health, what about telecommunications? How far down the track are we? You were speaking, Roger, about how pleased you are with what has unfolded on the infrastructure front. Telecommunications, what are we seeing there?
Angola Telecom has rolled out fiber optic cables virtually across the entire country. So landlines are vastly improved. The two mobile phone operators have just announced that they're moving to 4G. So very soon Angola will be ahead of most other countries in Africa.
In terms of wireless, broadband?
In terms of communication, internet, in all 18 provinces, wherever I've been able to go along to an internet cafe and access the internet without any trouble at all.
And that, of course, should give the economy a great boost if communication infrastructure is ahead of the game.
Yeah, it's a key infrastructure, the telecoms, and well, much has been done. I think still some significant investments that will be able to reduce the price. It still comes with a significant cost today in Angola, the telecoms and specifically the internet. But I think that with the investments that have been made and that will come to in the next few years, there is a space not only for an improvement in terms of the quality of the service, but also to a certain extent to reduce the cost, and with that obviously helping to spread the benefits for the entire economy. Yeah.
Gentlemen, thanks very much for your time. Well, that's all we have time for in this edition of Invest Africa. We'll be back again at the same time next week. Until then, from me, Bronwyn Nielsen, and my guests, it's goodbye.